demonic angel. Tonight I'm going to cover the Nine of Swords from the RWS Deck, and you can check out my Patreon page. There's a link below. And I basically just like to go talk about some of the traditional kinds of positive maybe interpretations, and then what I really like to think of as more of like a warning or kind of a polarity to the way the energy might manifest. And then, you know, rather than just apply things as just upright or reversed, but to kind of see it in both of those ways, however it might apply. So yeah, we have the Nine of Swords, and it's pitch black, so it's the middle of the night, and this person is, you know, they're staying up late. People inherently should be asleep at night. Adults, it's like our connection with our circadian rhythm, and when you go against that, then there's unbalance right there. But this person, they're sitting up in bed the middle of the night, and so we've got the nine swords. None of them are touching the person. So these are things that, and swords represent air and intellect, and we do have the person kind of, it looks like facing to the east, so that's the direction of air. And these are things that are basically weighing heavy on the person's mind. So it's regret. It's not just regret alone. It might be shame. It could be despair. And then there's kind of like an aspect of maybe it's like mental like illness. It's kind of warning of this, where it's like a PTSD kind of a situation where there's just so much, someone is so overwhelmed with like, if they're not living in regret of something from the past, then they're living in despair. Then they're, you know, they're judging themselves. So there's not any kind of peace, and they can't sleep at night. These things, it weighs heavy on a person's mind. They stay awake, and that has negative health consequences, of course. But you know, that's kind of the whole catch here, is that this person isn't actually being hurt. So it's like they're everything in their mind. So everything that we kind of harbor in our mind, it does have to manifest in this physical way, and you know, this is just so much. So it's just kind of warning that, like, with all those built up emotions that are negative, somebody can kind of, you know, really develop in, like, it's like a trauma. And this is a good time to look for mental help if you really need it, because sometimes it's just overwhelming. And like maybe in the Ten of Swords, you know, the next card, it's a good thing for the person to be alone, because you know, of the literal physical injury from another source, another person. Because you're alone at night by yourself, and it's really not working out, you need comfort, you need this additional support from other people in any kind of way. You know, you could reach out to family or friends, but that's going to be really important to recovering, to change that mindset. It has to be this conscious kind of thing. And you know, when that happens to us, when that mental breakdown due to the repeated bad thoughts does happen, then it's literally forcing you to reevaluate what's important in your life, and to find a way to spend your energy better, because it's just simply overwhelming. And those are some, you know, really vital moments to the individuation process. The person is like, they've got gray hair, so they've stressed themselves out so much that they're aging faster than they should. This is long-term. It can indicate long-term stress and illness, isolation, because there's that really lonely feeling this card evokes. Lonely in a very negative sense, that it's almost like the silence is deafening, because when you're that overwhelmed and alone, then it really is like Like it seems like your thoughts bounce off the walls. It's so heavy. And then, you know, when you get depressed, the world seems grayer because we kind of lose, when we become ungrounded like that, we lose our connection with our physical senses. So it seems like we don't feel things as much, we don't taste things, whatever, smell. We all have a different set, you know, some people smell better than others. But, you know, when it changes for you and you lose that connection with your physical senses, you know, that's how this can kind of be. So it's kind of a long-term bad habits and thinking that's just, it's time to fix. You know, we have the blanket with the roses and the zodiac. They're supposed to be the zodiac symbols on the quilt. And this is just a sign that even though it's just really overwhelming, you know, you're still going to be comforted by the divine. This is, you know, this too kind of shall pass. With, you know, there's just so much influence of the stars, and that's a reminder we do need to go through these trials, isolating times, to really connect with that deep inner part of us. And that, you know, the roses are pure and innocence and pure light. So that really, you know, there is comfort. This isn't just sleeping on this bed with absolutely nothing. You start from total scratch, whatever, and you'd still be okay because you always have, you know, whatever consciousness, God with you. And then this person looks like they're sleeping on a literal concrete bed. And, you know, they've got that really hard, disgusting looking pillow, and it's, you know, it would hurt to sleep like that. So, you know, there really is kind of an association here with maybe a couple of other factors like financial loss, or maybe somebody really starting over again because there's just a real dip in the quality of life like that. You know, and then when we have people where we're really going through that phase in our lives where we're just so overwhelmed, people will tend to start neglecting things like feeding themselves regularly or caring about the quality of where they, you know, like where they sleep. So they'll just sleep wherever. They don't really notice, you know, time passing and things like that, because once again this is just such a severe disconnect, and this is all brought on by these different emotions and ideas, but it's a lot of them. It's 9 of them. Imagine adding all that up: regret, remorse, shame, you name it. Things that you like, you think that what other people are saying about you, that's, you know, gossip. Doesn't have to be so obvious, but it's just all adds up. And then, you know, at the bottom here of the bed, it's actually like a guy with like what looks like a spear, and he's basically gonna close in on another guy, and looks like he's gonna kill him. But he hasn't touched him yet. So this is, in what I like to think of, is the lower consciousness trying to like sabotage your higher consciousness. By you just only speaking negatively, it's self-defeating. And your intuition can't reach you. And so the self-defeat has just really built up. I mean, we do see in other cards where trauma might be a little bit more short-term and related to more direct things like death, but this is really this long-term thing that has to do with the way that you choose to think. And sometimes we all think naively. We've got to watch it, and just remember that you can change your whole outlook by changing the way you think. Monitor the way you think, and it will open up all these new opportunities for you. This is just another stop on the individuation process. There's no shame. And feeling shame and understanding that this is all an integral part of the human experience. We will do another tarot card soon.